Good evening, or not, as the case may be. Let's get down to business. It seems really closer that side. Let's try that a bit. See if I can. Oh, for goodness sake. It's not very good at being central. It's partly because the cable comes out the top on the right, so this side. But it's quite a thick, chunky cable. And whatever you do, the weight of the cable pulls on it. Now, because my light is at 90 degrees, so it's parallel to this, obviously the cable comes up and over the back, and it causes it to go skew. But weirdly, it doesn't seem to push it down, it seems to pull it up. So there you go. So that's part of the reason why it's a bit screwy. I need to do something with this. Hang on, let me do something with my mic. Let me try and stop making noises at you. Hang on. There, now it's a bit more out of the way, because it was kind of here on the left in my way where things are going to be. So, let's have a look. What are we going to do? I think we should extract you all out of the pins that you have made friends with, like this. Lift this pin up a bit more, and maybe a bit more than that. There. So that's all out of the way. And we will need you in a minute, so put you there. We need you, and we need you. How did you achieve that, Mr. Bobbin? How have you completely undone your knot? Oh no, you haven't undone your knot, you've just made yourself about 6 meters long. Thanks for that. Silly bobbins. So, how is everybody today? I hope you had a slightly more successful day than I did. That wouldn't take a lot, by the way. Let's have a look. So, you are out already. There you go. And then we need 2 of you. Ping, ping, ping goes my phone. done. Bear with me, the dogs have hit the light and they've moved their dog bed and it's now pushing the light over. There. Sorry about that. His lordship decided that he needed to rearrange his bed. And of course in doing so, dragged it halfway across the room, slammed into my light and puppies. I love them dearly. He is now of course lying happily on his bed when I put it back where it was. They are funny things, dogs, especially her with the cushions. Her in the cushions is a nightmare. Every single one. I mean, there's 1,001 pins in here, and yet none of them seem to be grabbable. There must be some way of magnetising them to encourage them to be, well, usable. You're too long because you're falling off the bottom. dogs. Do you have to bump me every time? Goodness me. Oh, she's at it again. I'm not surprised it's uncomfortable now. It was all nice and you've wrapped it up and now it's uncomfortable. Shocker! Stupid dog. They're as bad as each other. And now you've destroyed it, you've given up and come back over here to ruck up my fucking cushions. Wretched animals. And then they wonder why I want to shove pillows up their backsides. No, I don't, but they are annoying with them. Well, she certainly is. Just pick a spot, little one. Pick a spot. Yes. Any spot. Just lie in it. Come on. Look, lie in your lie in a spot. Rory's lying in a spot. He's comfortable. He's going to go to sleep. Why can't you go to sleep? Hmm? My little one. Why? Why? Oh, dog head. Oh, you can't see it, fortunately. I have dog head now. In fact, if I do this... No, you're not going to see it. What? You learnt grinding your teeth from your brother, didn't you? Yes, I know. I do. Yes. Hello. You big silly. Oh, yawn. If you hear teeth grinding and stuff, it's because she's right under the microphone. Being a silly. Oh, scratchy ear. Mum does good scratching ears. She does. She does do good scratching. Oh, look at that face. Yes, that'd be better. That'd be better. Did Mummy scratch your ear? Did she scratch it good? Yes, she did. She scratched your ear. Yes. You yawn so much. You know yawning's contagious, don't you, Doug? Hmm. Yes. Don't ask for snogs and then try to bite me. No. She doesn't bite, but she opens her mouth and doesn't realise that her teeth are there. don't you? Because, of course, if you think how humans do the kissy kissy noise, they go mwah and open their mouths, so does she. She's copying me. But she's got big teeth. Yes, you do. I would do your ears, but we're on stream, my friend. We're on stream. Yes, we are. Yes. And I'm trying to do lace. You remember this, where I play with bobbins? Yes. I know you can't see any of this, of course. Come here. Let me grab the ear thing. Here it is. Right. Oops. Well, that's because you had fur in your ear. That's why it's annoying you. You've got some large amount of fur in your ear. No wonder you've got itchy ear. Come on, let me. Yes, you have. Look at all this fur in your ear. Half of it's your brother's. Puppy dogs. Right, she's decided that she's going to rattle her own ears now. Another bobbin that's gone for a really long walk here. I mean, it's like twice as long as it needs to be. Wasn't that a lot of hullabaloo over nothing? It was. Yes. I need to get some, like, brick-sized earth magnets so that I can attach a magnetic dangle to the dogs. And then when I want them to sit still and be quiet, I just put this brick next to them and it goes... And now they don't run around. That's what I really need. It's what I need a lot. Or somehow to make the dog magnetic so that I can just, like, pin them down. Because they get kind of like... They spend hours, you know, racking up the couch and the cushions and their dog beds, and they've kind of destroyed half the room. They then finally find a spot, and immediately it's like someone shot them in the butt, and they leap up like a thing possessed and run around again. And then start all over again. Don't pretend you don't, madam. Ads are about to start. Got a minute. So if you need a wee or a pee or a tea or whatever, a coffee, whatever it is that floats your boat, beer would be about right about now, to be honest. Your chance will come in 55 seconds. Just throw another pin on the floor. need you late in a minute. We need you kind of nowish. And we need you. And we need to unpick you from all of the pins that you have mated with unnecessarily. Put you out the way from that. Hello, how are you? What are you up to today? I can't believe I've done so little and I've got backache already. The fur bag's really not helping. Well, if you need to, if you're really in the mood, I mean, if you want to come and help, I mean, because I sure as hell I can do it. I think I've explained to you before, I have absolutely chronic depressive episodes. It's going to sound like a cop-out if I clean up. So, and I mean it genuinely, a mess does not bother me. Absolutely. If you could see the pile I'm sitting next to right now, the mess does not bother me. There are things that bother me. So icons on my computer desktop, that's messy, can't stand that, can't be doing that. Do not put your crappy folders in stupid places, can't be doing that. But my house could look like a cesspit and I wouldn't care. And the problem is I really love this house. I do. Absolutely. I almost on a daily basis tell this house how much I love it. For I do. But tidying it, I can do bits of cleaning. Bits. Not quite, I can't do like spring cleans and mega epic things, but because it involves tidying. But if I can, I will do the washing up, I'll do the washing, I'll, clean the loo, I'll, clean the cupboards where it looks like the dog's been pouring at it, and that doesn't bother me. It's the tidying. I just have this great mental aversion to tidying. Can't be doing that. So frankly, if someone else would like to do that for me and could be relied upon, I would pay them. But I investigated getting a cleaner because, well, obviously. And I found a lady who'd do it at a reasonable price. And the first week she didn't show. This is true. But first week she didn't show. So I messaged her. Oh, I forgot. Okay, genuine mistake. Let you off. Second week, I forgot. Third week. Oh, I've got something else. I've got to do something else. Okay, but that's the third week in a row you've not bothered yet. Oh, well, I can get my friend to come over. Hang on. I don't even know if I trust you yet. What makes me think you think that I'm going to trust your friend at this point? I went to a less one-man band, more professional cleaning company. And I'm not going to say that rip-off, but shit me. I live in a 4-bedroom house. It is a reasonable size 4-bedroom house. But even I can vacuum it, run around with, clean a couple of toilets, because although I've got a number of toilets, I only use 2, so 1 up, 1 down. 1 for when I'm downstairs and 1 for when I'm upstairs. I don't use any of the others. They don't need cleaning every week, all of this kind of stuff. Well, they wanted 3 men to do 4 hours every week. It doesn't take me 4 hours to do the whole fucking house. I'm not paying... okay, you're probably going to do a better job than I would, but 4 hours for 3 of you? And so if they wanted like 250 quid a week? Dude! Admittedly, I think they did provide their own equipment. Yeah. 4 hours with 3 people doing the works. Yeah, that I would have... if they'd said, 2 hours for 2 people or 4 hours for 1 person, I'd have worn that. I'd have kind of gone, yeah, okay. And maybe the first clean would have been a bigger one, so they'd get a couple of people in and, to make sure that they had a good ground point, that I wasn't harbouring any germs or something, and mould or something. But 4 hours every week, 3 people. So you're telling me for 12 hours of the week, what are you going to do? Scrub my carpets with a toothbrush? No. Funny enough, I said no. And she kind of got all prissy because, clearly, she realised it was slightly the price. And actually, love, it wasn't the price specifically, although it was a lot, because 250 quid a week. Well, there are people who don't earn that. But 250 quid a week, fine. But it was the fact that it was 250 quid a week because you wanted 3 people to come in. And it's like, I was expecting more of one dude for a couple of hours, just to take the shine, to put a bit of shine on it. I was not expecting to walk away with, surgical cleaners here. It's not what I'm asking for. I'm just asking, run around with a hoover, wipe a few things, maybe that I would have forgotten to do, such as the skirting boards or whatever. I tend to forget things like that. To go around, do a bit of a tidy up once a week. Dude, my dad used to pay, I think it was £12 a week, and she'd do 3 or 4 hours. Now, that's the kind of money I wouldn't mind, but I do think that was a little bit low. But I'm sorry. No. No, I'm not paying you 250 quid a week. And so, for the last 6 years, wow, it's really been that long, 5 or 6 years, I have done my best. And so, is it the cleanest thing in the world? Probably not. But I'm considerably better off than I would have been if I'd said yes. Plus, of course, I would have had to have hid the dogs for the duration of while they were here. And 4 hours, 4 hours is a long time for the dogs to be put in the garage, knowing that there are people messing with their house. So yeah, yeah, 4 hours, 3 people. Yeah, then I'd have to make them do my garage afterwards, wouldn't I? For all the mess and mayhem they cause in there. Which one of you farted? Because it wasn't me. I'm quite happy to own mine. That's not one of mine. They're both looking asleep, but someone's got smelly guts. A dog butt fragrance wafted up to my nose. Well, at least they're asleep now. Yeah, it is almost chewable, so yeah. How can it only be Monday? It doesn't feel like a Monday. Yeah. I had a long day at work today. I'm glad you're out there, Sugar Bam. Really are. So I think we need to undo some pins back here because, well, they're getting in the way and they're hidden by all of our lovely work. So let's take these out because we like taking out pins. Also gives me some pins that I can get hold of because, of course, I put them in the right way up so I can reuse them easily because I can get hold of them. I heard that, dog. Oh look, hang on. I get to do my favourite thing with spamming idiot. Hang on. Yes, I agree that that's me. Okay. You didn't see that, but we basically had yet another, hey, best viewers on, you know. Well, this was best viewers. Usually it's cheap viewers. I mean, much as I wouldn't mind a few more viewers, I'm not paying for them. It is the if you build it, they will come scenario. I will build it. If they choose to come, they will. I'm not going to pay for fake viewers. Because let's say I did. First of all, against Twitch's terms and conditions. Secondly, even if I got away with that, I've got to pay for them. Well, if I'm paying for them, anything that I gain as a result of having a, let's call it, decent amount of viewers, will be negated by the fact that I had to pay for them. So I'm pretty sure the amount I would have to pay for them would almost be more than I would ever make from having potential viewers. So, I'm sorry. How does this work? Well, again, how is this a thing? How is this actually going to ever work? You know. I guess it's a bit like the, hey, I'm the prince of somewhere in Nigeria, usually. I have, 12 million zillion squids, but you must send me 5,000 for me to know that you're real, Really? First of all, Mr. Prince, how did you find out about me? Secondly, I do not feel this is an exclusive offer. Yeah, it feels more done when the pins come out. You're right. And more to the point, I can take out these as well. Take out the top half of these, because, well, we won't be going back here in a hurry, so... The pulling of the pins does signify the I'm not going back that far kind of category. Now, obviously, this would, but I need them to support the next bit until I've done the next bit. And, of course, this is when you spot the mistakes, so, it's the other point of doing this is to go, shit! And cry, because, it's wrong, but, trying to find a positive spin on it. It is because it is done and you're not going back that far. So, well, nothing screams at me from space. But the obvious answer is, until I stick a picture on the internet, of course it never will. So, you have no idea how... When was it? It was last week. Sometime last week. We did a load, and I screwed up a chunk in here. So, the next day, I went back, and I redid, basically because I had to redo like this whole chunk. And it was kind of like, all I did on that next day was fix that one mistake, and it was kind of like a little bit soul destroying. Interestingly enough, someone posted a question on one of the lace boards earlier today. How much thread do I need for 8.5-inch squares? Now, you really would think I'd know the answer to that, wouldn't you? No. Because as we know, I did the first one and ran out, hated myself. Not that it shows, but, you know, because I know how to fix them. But then I wound shit loads on the next one, and I'm still using it. No. Not at all. Not a clue. Absolutely none. The biggest problem is that the path of the bobbins does not take what you might think. The only honest to God true way to keep track of it would be to make one, and instead of tying off and gluing your bits at the end, chopping it as if you're about to do all the knots, so you leave enough end to tie your knots and all the rest of it, and then undo it all. You arguably should be able to guess scientifically by weight, but because not all bobbins are equal, that would be a problem. So here lies the problem. As you may notice, obviously we pivot around the middle. You would think that the thread that does this pin here literally needs to be like a centimetre long. No. Because what actually happens is the thread that comes in on that pin goes all the way across. So while potentially it uses less, say, initially, and the one at the top kind of, well, because it's a grid, the ones at the top work down, the ones to the left work out. So to be fair, the ones that probably do the least are in the middle, except for the fact that those who do this cloth stitch, do the backwards and forwards cloth stitch, get through a lot more because they go backwards and forwards. So, to be honest, no freaking idea whatsoever. Because, now, when it came to the first time, the usual answer for lace making is 4 times the distance that you want to do, is an approximation. With, if you've got large cloth stitch sections, that will be an impact. So you would think, primarily, the 4 times the distance, maybe doubled for good measure, would be sufficient. No. Not at all. I think that's roughly what I did for the first one. I thought I did 1.5 meters, which, you know, it's 5.25 inch square, for Christ's sake. 1.5 meters. Now, that's obviously not 4 times, but it ran out. Some of them ran out before the end of the first freaking triangle. And I was like, how the hell did that happen? I thought I'd done 3 meters. Now, obviously, some I'd done like 1.5. I'd obviously lost my marbles somewhere. So the next one I did like, I swear I did like 6 meters. Well, I'm on the 3rd square with that stuff now, because I made small knots when I started. So, if 3 meters wasn't enough for 1, but 6 has been enough for, well, 2.5. How? So I have no idea. Absolutely none. The only way to find out would be to undo it. And as it takes me a month to do a square, there's 2 words for that and one of them's off. The first probably starts with F, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, you would what would be nice is finding a way to keep track. So, for example, with weaving, there is simple calculations, right? And it's highly accurate, simple calculations. For you have a number of threads going down, you have a number of threads going across. The number of threads you have down times the number you have across times the length of the pieces you want to make plus your loom waist gives you the length that you need. And it will be right. With the weft threads, it is the number of picks you're going to do per inch times the number of picks you're going to do. Hallelujah! There's the amount you need. Now, it can be excessive. Bear in mind, loom waist is not always a trivial amount. Yeah. On my fancy pants loom in its fancy pants setup, when it's not in fancy pants setup, it's a lot less. But under fancy pants setup, where I can do really fancy shenanigans, the loom waist is 60 inches. Think of that. That's 5 feet of waist per thread. Okay? So if you've got 400 threads, yeah. I worked out that on a bad day, you can almost make a cone of waste, and you're like, some of the cones are really expensive. So, for example, she says, looking around and not seeing one. Oh, there's one. Hang on. So, let's pick our magic number 40 here. This is 40/2 cotton. I think it's actually 43 cotton, but it doesn't say, so we'll go with it. Right. This is 1 kilometre of yarn. This cost me £9. Now, in terms of lace making, you can make quite a lot with it. In terms of weaving, not so much. So, at 42 cotton, I would have to look it up, but I'm going to say you probably need 30 odd ends an inch. So, if you were to make a tea towel of, say, I like my tea towels big, so I generally make them 32 by kind of 26 to 28, depending on the pattern. Maybe a bit more, give or take a bit. Well, 30 times, say, 24 is quite a lot. Let's get a calculator out on this one, because we're going to need some numbers here, and it's too late for this kind of crap. So 24 times 30 means I'm going to have 720 warp threads, which, that's quite daunting, but okay. But if you think of, well, I'm then going to need, let's say 32 inches, plus, let's be kind and generous here, 60 for my loom waist. Actually, let's not do that. Actually, yeah, let's do that. That's 66,240. Now, I'm not quite sure how many inches there are in a kilometre. Hang on, let's Google that because I'm a lazy sod. Inches in a kilometre. So that's over that'll be more than 2 reels of thread just to make the warp threads for a tea towel. You've got to remember that you then need 30 times 32, so bear in mind, let's go back. 30 times 32. That's 960 picks times. Now this is where my brain farts sometimes. Bear with me, hang on. So we're going to do 30 an inch times 32 times 32. So I then need another, over a half another one. So that's 2.5 of these to make a tea towel. Well, that's 3. So that's £27 for one tea towel. One. Isn't that depressing? So here's me when I set out to make my tea towel. Not too surprisingly, I bought 10 of them just to be sure, because I'm not running out. I'm not suffering from the different batch scenario. I don't think they have batches, but you know, I'm not suffering from none of that. I've got like a box of 10, possibly and some more, but I've got a box of 10 because I'm pretty sure I actually asked for some of those and some of those, and I actually got 10 the same. So I think I've got more than I need, but principles, it's always better to have more than less, right? Because then you can always experiment later. But yes, there you go. So only a mere 3 of these to make a tea towel. Now, obviously, this is why loom people tend to warp up meters upon meters of the same warp, because then the 60 inches, in my case, on my fancy loom, of waste isn't for one tea towel. It's divided by the number of tea towels. Therefore, it becomes less. So if you were doing 2 tea towels, well, it's then 2 spare tea towels, right? If you're doing 3, well, it's only 20 inches. If you're doing 9, well, it's only 10, right? That doesn't work out. It's only 6, right? So for each tea towel you add, you lessen the waste per tea towel and spread the cost. Therefore, if it's 27 for one tea towel, it's not, 27 times X for X tea towels. There is shared. And so, yeah, it is kind of, but even so, it is one of those moments that your brain, this is why weaving does your head in, because you're sitting there going, oh, I've got a couple of interesting balls of yarn. What can I make with that? And the answer is not half as much as you thought, because half of it's going in the bin. This is slightly the issue of my fancy loom, in that it is not really designed for, let's call them small one-off projects. It is wasteful from that point of view. But because of its versatility, as long as you aren't changing the base cloth, so I think I explained this before, so if you look at my fancy tea towels that I was waving around that aren't really tea towels because they're too thick, because I was stupid, believe me, I was stupid. I was stupid. That's all you need to know. Miscalculated, my fault. I did it too dense. But, I mean, I did those at, what was it? 18 ends to the inch? I think it might even have been 24. No, it was 18. I did it 18 ends to the inch, which is fine, except normally it's like 10. So it was double the thickness, which can be right depending on how many you're skipping over and under, but I made it a bit thick. Anyway, I mean, they're nice. They're really good. I mean, they make great doormats, but there's an underlying kind of weave structure in the fanciness. And as long as you're going to use the same weave structure, so you don't need to change the density of it, you can just put meters and meters and meters and then change up how the pattern comes out. So I've obviously got it currently set for a point of 12, right? And all the Christmassy patterns that I designed are designed around that. But I could make it a point of 6. And then have more repetitions with a smaller repeated pattern. And all I have to do, I say all I have to do, is each little kind of pixel block is on a string, and all I have to do is pull the strings back to the kind of like to the back, and set about. That's right. I'm just undoing this because my brain farted in the middle, as inevitably my brain does, because for some reason that's how it works. There we go. Reset them all to the back and redistribute them. Now, it's not a hard job. Bit of an annoying job, but it's technically not a hard job, because you get a big stick, you poke it through each of the things, because I have loads of pattern shafts, so I've got 13 at the moment, 12 for the pattern and one for not changing, so I've got 13 shafts, and you basically weave this big stick through all of your little pattern groups, because they've all got big loops on, shove it to the back, and then sit there going, right, I need to pick out all the ones for pattern shaft number 1. I need to pick out all the ones for pattern shaft number 2. I need to pick... Now, it's a bit harder because, well, they're already there, so you can't get in the loom like you did the first time. But you can still do it from behind and do it in reverse order, and so the further you're working away from you instead of towards you. But it doesn't make much difference which way around you do it. It all comes out the same in the wash. And so, as a result, it is something that you can very much do and rearrange it and completely do it. To be honest, even if you wanted to change the pattern style, so Amy, you have chosen to sit there. You need to understand that this was your choice. But you can change the underlying structure, but obviously, without redoing the reed at the front, you can't change the density. So this can have pros and cons. Can you see this nose? Look, there's a nose. No, not really. Yes, there you go. There's a nose. There's a little nose. Yes, I know you're uncomfortable, love. I can't... Really... do you need huggies? Do you need big puppy huggies? No, you want to get down. Okay. Why couldn't you go down through the huge gap behind me? Are you getting down, or are you just kind of like going to lay with your legs on top? Oh, the slowest getting down off the couch I've ever seen in my life. There you go, Rory. You can have your bit of duvet back as a cushion. There you go. But... So I could change them to, say, blocks of 4 instead of 6, or whatever, right? And you can. It's a bit more complicated and a bit more messy, but it can still be done. You can retie the stuff at the front and redo the bits at the front by, sliding them all off, sticking them on a thing, doing pretty much the same deal as before. Picking out the ones you want, sliding them onto a stick. You can do an awful lot of that. One of the advantages of this loom is that there's a lot of sticks. Now, as you may notice, I like sticks. And I think this is where some of it comes from. Because, seriously, I have like 3 trees next door of wood. I have more wood than I know what to do with. Some of it is erroneous wood that I will never use. Because... I bought it with 16 shafts as a base shaft, and I've got a 16 shaft thingy for the top. I also have a 10 shaft thingy for the top, but I use the 16 shaft treadles. Oh, so what do I do with the 10 shaft ones? But they do make excellent sticks because they're fat and chunky. So they're quite strong sticks. We like them for that. And they're quite long as well. So they're very good for that. But seriously, I have sticks out the wazoo. Because there are warp sticks. There are shaft sticks of a couple of varieties. Seriously, if a fire were to start in there, it would never go out. I would just it would turn into a charcoal pit. It is a phenomenal amount of wood in there. The heat from it would be something else. But obviously, while it is wood, it is not specifically overly flammable because it is, varnished and the like. So it's not exactly spontaneously combusting stuff, but it is a lot of wood. And of course there's more than one loom in there. And some other loomy things that are all made of wood. And some other wooden things and some other wooden things and some other wooden things. So the room's kind of jam-packed with tree. We need a pair of bobbins. So you're out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh look, ads. Day wouldn't be the same without an ad, would it? But yeah. Someone posted the other day on my Instagram that they missed seeing my weaving posts. Well, that's because I only have so many hours of the day. And this not being a particularly fast hobby, I mean, I know that we've all seen the lightning speed people on, you know, YouTube and TikTok and the like, who, frankly, literally seem to go, sorry, and out comes like 6 inches of lace, and you go, you didn't even seem to change bobbins. One of them, I literally swear, she twists these like I do, like this, but she's got this one and she goes kind of twisty, and she's moved over here somehow, and you're like, you literally picked this up. You didn't pick up any of these. You didn't go under and over any of these. So how? How did you do that? And even when you know what you're looking for, to an extent, so you know how the stitches are formed and you can see what she's doing or the pattern she's working on, so you've got an idea of what stitch she's about to do. I still can't see what she's doing. I seriously swear she picks up a bobbin and goes twisty, and then like twisty, and she's finished. But she didn't just twisty, and she's done like 50 stitches, and you're kind of going, you went through a time rift, didn't you? Because it is quite frightening, and it is humbling, but it is also slightly off-putting, because it makes you feel very inferior. Because no matter how hard you try, it doesn't feel like you can ever be that fast. It's a bit like when you ride a push bike. When you first ride a push bike, you fall off a lot. And frankly, it seems like a miracle that people can ever stay on the stupid things. Then you realise that you can't go slowly. You have to push harder, because to be honest, some of the maintaining... stop licking the duvet! It's gross. But some of the principle of riding a bike is balancing a bike stationary is really, really hard. Balancing a bike in motion isn't. Now, some of it is, you know, velocity and you know, cause and effect and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, riding a bike, you can't arguably go slowly. It's not like driving a car where you can go incredibly slowly and it's not really a deal, because it's not like your car's going to fall over. You might stall it, but as long as you've got reasonable revs, you can actually go incredibly slowly. Can't really do that on a push bike. Or a motorbike, for that matter. It's much harder to go incredibly slowly on a motorbike too. But you do sit there, and lace making is not one of those things. If you watch some of the people that there are out there, some of the YouTubers and all the rest of it, I'm not dissing their skills. It's how they work. We all work different. We're all different people. But I mean, I don't consider myself particularly fast, because I'm not. I certainly don't consider myself particularly good at it. But when you watch them and they're going to do a hole stitch, so here's me doing a hole stitch. I go cross, twist, cross, right? If I undo that, there's a girl I watched, and of course now there's fucking ads. I am so tired of, why is it I'm always right in the middle of something and ads come? When I sit here in silence, they don't seem to be here. I will wait for you to come back, Sugar Bear. Yeah. technically, you should be back by now. Here, you're back. But yeah, if we go through that again, right? Shimming you back. If I do a normal cloth stitch, I do that, and then I'm done. If I undo that, there is this girl, and she's quite famous, so I'm not going to name her, but she literally goes... If I did this slowly, I'll be doing this when I was 65. Yeah, it's her choice. I mean, it's not about speed. This is not a speed sport, frankly. I mean, I'd like to be faster. But that's because I'd like to be faster. Don't know why I did that. You should not be in it, I don't think. No, you shouldn't. Let's undo that. You should be over there. You should stay over there. I wish, but for me, the slowest part of these things, stabbing these things into the... Grabbing them and stabbing them in the hole is the slowest part of the whole process. It's shocking. It's and so with that in mind, it's not my lace making portion that I find slow. It's the pins. And one of the things that I have noticed is that quite a lot of the speed bits you see, they're doing a large area, a bit like I'm doing this the cloth stitch bit here. They're doing a larger area that requires no pins. Well, then you can work up a bit of a speed on that bit. But for the intricate bits where you've got, you know, like the rose ground here, where you've got like 4 frigging pins every 10 seconds and bits and more pins and more pins and some pins, doesn't work. And because they only show you this one niche bit of them, you know, breaking the light speed barrier, it gives almost a false impression of what it can be like, because you can't skip the pins. The pins are kind of essential. Now, one of the things that I did notice with the Bucks Point lace that I did was that the pins in the ground, i.e. these dots here, like the bit I did here in torchon, which is a different ground but similar principle, didn't really seem to do anything. And it did dawn on me that an experiment of choice would be to try without pins, because if you could do it without pins and you only had to do, like, you know, almost like pins where the stitch changes and all the rest of it, well, for me, wouldn't that be faster? Because, well, you'd get to do a lot of work before you have to poke it with a hole. So I do feel an experiment coming on to see how that would work out. As you may recall, I don't have it to hand, but I did do a strip of experiments. And one of the experiments I did was not pinning it, but I did do a different kind of cloth stitch. So instead of this back and forth thing and making a very dense stitch, it made a more airy stitch. But for example, because this is working on a diagonal, and obviously to an extent, you've got a grid that's on a diagonal, and therefore the threads come in at a diagonal. When we come to do the cloth stitch, we do it Lego style. So if there's 3 here, you move over 1 block and make 3 here, and then you move over 1 block and make 3 here, right? Whereas what I did on this strip was go, well, this string comes out the other side at that hole. It doesn't go back. It doesn't get, you know, kind of popped out again over here, which is what happens actually. So when you get to here, this string here on this dot, let me zoom in a bit because this will help make a bit more sense of it all, because you can't really see what I'm talking about. So let me zoom in a little bit. Whoops, wrong direction. That way. Up a little bit. Right. So let me move this string. Oh, I need a poking device. Let's use a poking device. Right. So this pinhole here, the string that comes out this pinhole, there's two. One goes that way, one goes this way. When it gets to here, the string that came in here actually goes to here in this particular scenario. Sometimes it keeps going, so here it keeps going all the way across. But here, this one comes straight out again to here. Well, instead, it would go in here and it would come out here. So you would have the crosses going this way, and this string that came in here would come out here. Now, it makes a more neck curtain-y cloth stitch, and it is actually quite pretty. But, well, it's a hell of a lot quicker, because all you do is the under ovary for each of these with the threads that are already there. There is no adding, there is no taking away. This literally takes all of these, moves them to over here, done. And it is really quite an effective look as well, because it gives you a very gossamer weave, whereas this, of course, is quite dense. And in some ways, a little too dense, one could argue, for a neck curtain. Now, we're quite lucky in this, well, obviously, because I designed it this way, but because it's not a huge area. Whereas, for example, I could do this whole middle cross like that. Well, wouldn't that go quick? But I could do the whole middle cross like that, and it wouldn't, while it would be different to the ground stitch and everything else going on around it, that wouldn't be solid. It wouldn't be like this solid. It wouldn't be a dense X in the middle of your thing, right? It would be this very light letting through thing. Oh, my network just farted, so I apologise for that one. My network farted at work when I was on a meeting and threw me out, so it's been the day for it. As I said, it's been a long day at work. Interestingly, it says I dropped no frames, but I did thing I've got in my ear that I've been listening to. Oh, there it goes again. My home network's been... Well, it's not my home network. My internet's being a dog. It's fatting. So if you're seeing that on stream, I apologise, but I can't do much about that because it's my internet. But according to this, I have dropped 0 frames, so I might have got away with it. Not quite sure how I dropped 0 frames because the Twitch stream that I'm listening to paused, so... So yes, it's oh, don't be going up and down again. Goodness sake. Let's put this back. There you go. So yes, you probably did have a slight stuttery fart on the stream there. It says not, but I call liar pants on fire to that. Because, well, everything else says that I did, so... put some of these in the stick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, as an example, I mentioned that the ones coming in from the side here, which is this pair, go through to this pair. So they joined the pack. We get a pin. We stick it in the bottom. And then we twist these and we go back through them. And that's it. They're done now. They're part of the reject pile for this. So they don't... That one came in from here, went all the way across here, came in and has now turned left. So next time it will turn into here and it will probably come across most of the way across here. So it's really difficult to predict exactly how much thread there is, because it's not like the outside ones do a full lap, the inside ones do a weedy bit. They kind of about the place. I have considered writing a program, because I'm mainly retentive, that works it out. Because I am weird, right? So I'd mark each of these with a particular stitch type number, and it would know, you know, where the threads go for that. And so then it could calculate the distance, etc., and be a more scientifically accurate distance. You know, so if you take, for example, the distance between each pinhole and add, say, a quarter for most stitches, because they go, you know, around each other in the pin. They don't just kind of meet at the pin and go, hello, pin. They kind of go round and round the pin. They are kind of held by the pin. So I have considered drastically writing that program just to scientifically work out for once and for all how much freaking string I need. Because, well, it would be nice to get it right and know and be able to calculate these things with a slight more confidence. Or you mark each string with a number somehow. So right at the very beginning, you mark each pair with a number, because they do stay in their pairs, to be fair. So mark them because I know these stays in their pair. So, for example, I could have done these cloth stitch, because so like these two are always the worker for the cloth stitch. I could have made these two a different colour so that the dense parts here would have a hint of colour to them, because they'd be white and a hint of whatever. That was always thought. I've got a number of colours, but it's a net curtain. Net curtains are always white or off-white slightly. So didn't. Have thought about it, but didn't. But, you know, I did do it with the bookmarks. I made some bookmarks and made the cloth stitch in the middle sparkly. So I've got a gold one and a silver one, because, well, why not? Which I bought for doing with some weaving and never got around to using. And it is the most micro fine stuff, but it actually works out really nicely for this, because it stops the cloth stitch again being quite so dense, but it gives it a shimmer. So you see more of the vertical threads in it, because they do lie dead vertical, and instead of being masked by the undery ovary weft threads, normally these threads, but obviously these then become sparkles, and all you really see is a bit of sparkle with the warp threads. And so from that point of view, it is quite an interesting look. And I don't have them to hand, they're in a box somewhere. They're over there in a tin, and I can't be bothered to go and get the tin. But it is one of those kind of moments where you sit there going, it's a nice, you know, part of me says it would have been nice to do silver in the middle of these. If I'd done the cloth stitch with silver, that would work quite well in a net curtain, because the silver wouldn't show up a lot. The gold wouldn't show up a lot either, but I'm not quite sure how well it washes. So, but the silver would look quite nice, because it would give a bit of sparkle in the daylight. you know. And it would also, as I say, reduce the density. So, of course, we still have that option for the middle, because the 4 of the squares can be different for the middle. So we could still do that. But again, it takes so long as an experiment, because you could do a triangle to see how it looks, but that takes me at least a week. Why can't it take me an hour or 2, even 3, maybe even 4? You know, a Saturday where I can put in some time for it, maybe even a bit off stream, and just sit there and do this bit of triangle and come back to you and go, I made a triangle, what do you think? Right? Speaking of what do you think, I need to be right back a second. Bear with me a moment. There we go. I feel better now. Right. Yeah, so... Sorry, I had a thought, while you do, occasionally, on the can. I'm going to try and make an animation for the ad breaks. It'll not happen quickly. But, I've lost completely what I needed to do because I needed a wee. And well, I went to the loo, and once you flush, all ideas disappear. So I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. Oh, it was the working out the distances. So, and while I was up, I got my pot. So in here should be, there they are. So here's one. Here's one where I did the bits in the middle in green. Because, well, minging green. Because the green is minging and I will never use it in all seriousness. So, then I have these two. Sorry, there's one. There's the one with goldy bits, and there's one with silvery bits. There's the one with silvery bits. So the silvery bits doesn't show as well. I will zoom in on them. Never you fret. Let me put those back in there. And in fact, to make your lives easier, let me pick them up momentarily and place down a cloth of darkness. So we've got the green one, which was the original starter point, and then the 2 experiments with the glossy things. So let's start over with the green one. As you can see, the green one was pretty successful, to be fair, although this end, she says, tugging it down, call out the army, that's just heresy, but we'll ignore the fact the rest of the bookmark looks alright. Okay. This one I didn't finish the bottom, so bite me. But, as you can see here, the gold stands out quite a lot. But if you look, the down threads are actually white, but those are what you see. You see the colour of the weft thread, but unlike... Hang on, let me quickly put next to it the white one, which was as it came, right? So here is the white one. As you can see, it's quite a dense whiteness. Here it's less dense, but you see the gold. Here you don't really see the silver as much, because, well, it's silver. But it does have a glisten to it. I don't know if you can see the glisten on camera very much. But it does reduce again. You can see it's mainly looking like down lines. But obviously it's held together with the silvery thing. The silver is much... you wouldn't do it for clothes, for example, because it's quite a scratchy, metally feeling. But I did like how they turned out. And in fact, I was going to give them to someone, but forgot. So, never mind A. I was going to give her this one. Maybe this one. Because she used to do lace making. She was like, oh, wow, they're so pretty. And she was one of my co-workers in the Great Divide. So, this was more of an experiment. So, hence it doesn't quite have... This has got spiders. The spiders are things that I don't like. I don't hate them. I didn't want them in my net curtain because it looks like, well, flies. It would give you like fly spots on the floor. It would look like flies on your floor. Didn't need that in my life. So, yeah. My other pot of, the other things in my pot of doom, I've got, in this particular pot, oh, here's the experiment strip. So when I said about the strange cloth stitch that wasn't cloth stitch, ooh, that's all blurry. Come on, focus. Why is my thing not focusing? Why can it not focus? There you go. But if you think, this is slightly off screen, hang on, let's put it on. This is a normal cloth stitch. These 2 sections are normal cloth stitch. They're dense. This is my fake cloth stitch, where I just go with the flow of what threads are there. And as you can see, I mean, not overly clearly. Oh, I don't know, I'm looking at a 2-inch screen. Let me see what you see for a minute. Let me see a bigger version of that. So as you can see, there is this up under the ovary, but it's not dense like this stuff, and it doesn't have the same kind of weirdy edges, because all of the cloth stitch edges, I mean, even if you look at, let's go back to this green one, right, you can see that you end up with the bulbs where it goes, where it turns round. With this, you get a beautiful straight edge to it, and it's that much lighter, so from a net curtain point of view, this is really quite pretty. I don't think it has an official name. It was just an experiment I did on my great experiments of combinations. So I've got honeycomb with rose ground in it, which I quite like. I did some half stitch, some, you know, I did all sorts of things long here, and I didn't keep a good track of what I did, but I can generally tell you what I did with it. Then we have the Great Fumble, which was the pattern I got off Etsy, which basically was a photocopy of someone else's crap. So, and I've been storing it in a tin, so it's a bit all kind of jumbled. But I didn't like the joins on that. If I was doing it again, I would so change what I did with that. I do like it, and to be honest, I really hope to do something like this. Let's zoom out. I really hope to do something more like this for the net curtain, because you know, if you think this is almost square in the middle, if you joined them together, you could make, but it only uses like 6 pairs of bobbins. I think it was 8 or something. Well, 8 pairs of bobbins are really handleable. None of this piles of sticks that I've got. And you unfortunately for this one, you don't make it in one piece. You start here and you go round here, and then you start there and go round here, and then you go under this bit and over that bit, and it's a freaking nightmare. And so hence I do something different because, well, frankly, as you can see from the other side, it looks a little bit, well, you can see it's all got fluffy bits and it's horrible. And then we have some of the experimental triangles that we did. So we have some of my experimental triangles. And of course, who could forget the original square with some spiders and disasters and all the rest of it. And of course, the green square of madness, for which I truly lost my marbles making that square. That tiny, tiny square. I lost my marbles. I physically really, really lost my marbles. I was absolutely sectionable on that day. And to be honest, I think any shrinks have been watching there that called someone and demanded that they found out where I was, because I literally got to the point of sitting and laughing and not being able to do anything because it was just such utter chaos. And all because I tried a different sewing in technique. Now, the different sewing in technique did come out beautifully, but it took me 4.5 hours to do this tiny section. Whereas when we finished off the last square, it took me about 90 minutes to do the whole length of the diagonal of the square. And if I tell you it took 4.5 hours to do half the square, I only did half. I gave up after that. So, while as I said at the time, if I was making it for the king or queen, because bear in mind, obviously she's dead now, but, you know, minor detail. If I was making it for the royalty, or it was going to be on, it was going to be on show in the Louvre or something, right? Yeah, do it. It's going upstairs, on my landing, only I'm going to sit. I'm taking the easy route, sorry. If I've got this length to cover when I'm doing my sewing. I'm not spending 2 weeks sewing that in if I don't have to. If I can do it in an hour and a half and I'm happy with the result, bite me. It's my curtain. I have to live with it. My consequences. I'm not even selling it, giving it away, or any of the sorts. So I'm sorry. But let's be honest. If it's mine, I can do what I want to do with it. So I will. And it is that kind of, well, it is my sanity, and I'm sorry, but my sanity said no. My sanity said, I am not prepared to do that. That was too much shit for my brain, and literally, it just took forever. And now I've learned that I do a lot better. When it comes to sewing, I get my bobbins and I chop them before I start, not at the end like they tell you to, and it goes a lot better. I possibly could revisit that method of sewing in, because you make a long end, so I pull I pull the bobbin, so I've got a really long end, and then you pull it through a hole, but you don't make a loop and try and pass bobbins through it, and no. You pull one bobbin and you pull out the string through the hole. You then tie a knot round the hole. Now, in this sewing, you didn't tie the knot. You then fed it through adjacent holes made by adjacent pins. Well, again, if all I'm doing is taking one thread that is cut off the bobbin and pulling it up, almost like, sewing style, well, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I actually considered that. Just get to the end, make all the bobbins really, really long, chop, and then individually sew the ends and trim them later. Oh, I've lost connections to chat again. Christ's sake. It still says I've dropped no frames. And my other sensors did not say my internet went down, so in that case it could have been a chat fart. But, so with all that in mind, obviously, you know, there are limits to life, and one of my limits was how I'm going to sew my bobbins through. And, as I said, being my net curtain, if I want to cheat slightly, it's not really cheating, but I want to, you know, go for a slightly lesser quality path, but saves hours of my life. It's mine to do so, right? It is my choice, my life. I can do these things. So that's what I did. That's what I did last square, and it worked really, really well. I felt really pleased with it. I liked the results. And more to the point, when you do the loop thing, so you pull this loop up and you then pass this bobbin through it, you then tie a reef knot on top. Well, but this going through the bottom makes a lump, so it's quite a tall lump. Whereas if you go chop and pull this out and then tie a reef knot with it, it's a much flatter knot. So I actually like my way better. Bite me. Again. So yes, I was sorry, I was just listening to the bloke in my ear, who's a streamer I watch most days, to be honest. And it's his birthday today, so I wanted to kind of be present, even though I'm not present. I don't normally listen to him while I'm streaming, to be fair. Although I did the other day because he was doing something, and you may recall something about what the monkey do. It's a thing that everyone's been saying, find out what the monkey do, and I finally found out what the monkey do. So, because so did he, because I haven't got that far in the game, because I suck at game playing. I have, however, found a new game. I suck at it too, but it's Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria. It's not quite the game that I expected. Let me explain. Lord of the Rings, the original Lord of the Rings, it's very much an MMORPG. And you turned up, you chose to be a high elf with a bow or a dwarf with a pickaxe, whatever. And you went and killed mobs, and you did things, and you did quests, and you moved to the next zone and all the rest of it. This is a survival game. This is, you are a dwarf. No, that's it. You are a dwarf. And you have to basically rebuild under the mountains by yourself with lots of mobs trying to kill you. And you have to repair statues, and repairing the statues grants you, well, some things. So you find ore, you mine some more, and then you gain a few patterns from that. But primarily you seem to repair statues to get or find, kind of recipes kind of thing. It's a survival game, and I'm not overly good at survival games, but I do enjoy being a bit of a dwarf. Dwarf is not my favourite thing to play usually. It's a close second. I mean, I've nothing against them. Far better than gnomes. Sorry, gnomes. But fatty ogres are my general preference when it comes to gameplay. And MMORPGs, I want to be a fat ogre because, well, kind of matches my personality. But I don't overly object to any particular race in RPG games, to be honest. But my preference is ogre. I like goblins. I like dwarves. I was quite happy with my Ixars in EverQuest. Even though for like 20 years I called them Iskars, but we'll ignore that. Was never really into blueberries, dark elves. Wasn't really quite into those. Although a new game that I play a little bit, and I did stream briefly, Monsters and Memories, are getting some dark elves and some dark dwarves, deep dwarves and stuff. So they're more grey. They're underground, kind of. I mean, not that dwarves tend to be overground because they like mining, but these are deeper dwarves. So I'm kind of looking forward to a bit of that. When that comes out, that'll be nice. I can see a lot of my life disappearing in there, so this really had better be done by then, because I believe they're hoping to come out next year, so it's kind of like, it's going to be close, right? So yeah, it is a difficult thing, but I have some plans, and as I say, I've kind of decided I want to do this animation for when we're during ads, and I'm not great at 3D, nor am I great at animations, so you might be able to laugh because it will not happen quickly. But basically, I will do my best and see what I can master for you. So there's like a little cartoony, because it will not be realistic, I can assure you that, of a little cartoony kind of thing, and animate it a bit so that, you know, he gets up, he has a bit of a stretch, he goes and makes a cup of tea, disappears into the bathroom, you know, lets the dog out, and, you know, does a couple of bits and then comes back in time for the end of the ads, right? So that's my plan. That, you know, it's a 3 minute, you know, it'll be like a 3 minute thing, so that, you know, each time the ads kick in, that kicks in, so it kind of reminds you to go and get a drink and, you know, move about a bit and, you know, deal with a few things around the house, slap the children, whatever it needs to be. And, you know, what you do, whatever, you know, if you slap your children, whatever. I'm not going to judge you for that, because some of them probably would have turned out a lot better if they'd at least had one. So, you know, it is, oh, sleepy dog, it's all right, little man, it's all right. You made a hole, you've made a hole in my couch cover. So yes, I think I'm done for today. We've got to the end of this little section, so these bobbins are done. This is not done yet, but will come into play when we do those. We really need to do this section next. But it is 9:30, and one of the things that I have tried to promise myself is I will try and get to bed before midnight. Even if it is, you know, 2 seconds before midnight, I will try and get to bed before midnight. And the problem that I've been having is that the uploads can take a while, and quite often they don't happen till, you know, nearly midnight or after. And so it does make it more complicated, because of course it makes this stretch on for me, which is a bit annoying. Now, there is a way to have Twitch automatically send them over, but they're a funny quality when you do that. So I upload the saving to my hard disk that this has been doing, and then let's do that. And then obviously I've got to upload that, so it takes a while. It messes with all of my other stuff, so I can't do a lot of things because of my dog crap internet. So it really is quite it makes this much more strung out than possibly it needs to be. And I think if I could trust it to automatically send it to YouTube, and I would be happy with it, it would, and especially if I could automatically have it post to YouTube and then post a thing on my social media saying, hey, we've done all of that. The other thing, of course, is because I would have to leave this machine on, I could write, I've been thinking about writing something that automatically uploads it, publishes some stuff on social media to say, hey, new video to look. Not that many of you look because you've already seen it, but it is just one of those things, is that it'd be so much nicer if you could do that without me sitting there until 2 o'clock in the morning doing it. I would really appreciate that. But at this time, I have to do it the hard way, which is not ideal. But let's kind of get a bit of visibility of that. That's a hideous picture of me. We don't need to be needing that. So let's take a picture of that. Like that. Other than a wonky pin, here. You know, I said about how you post it on the internet and it shows up. Well, sometimes you can see on here the faux pas. And I don't see any initially. Which is a good sign. Normally you see at least one. Oh look, and the spammer dude that came along has already left the station. What a shame. They left the station actually nearly an hour ago. So, when did they do it? They left the station 2 minutes after I reported them. Yeah, that's how it goes, Twitch. We like that. So yes, Twitch are good at that. Anyway, let me put my cloths back. I shall endeavour to be back tomorrow. I have some tedious meetings tomorrow. Aren't most meetings, I know. But tomorrow I have some tedious meetings. I have to re-explain some really simple things to the guy whose job it is to know. But never mind. And resolve some other stuff that isn't my fault, that suddenly broke. And they're all going, so what did you change? I wasn't even here, dude. I was on holiday, so no, I did not change anything. But I do think it is related to me changing from being an employee to being a contractor. And I've got a horrible feeling they just yanked its access when I left. So, but I can't prove it because I don't get to see it. So anyway, thank you for visiting with me today. I hope I get to see you tomorrow. I would really appreciate that. You're all very lovely people, even though most of you lurked. That's fine. I do hope to see you again. As I said, if you don't get notified, if you follow and you don't get notified when Twitch goes live, Twitch can be a bit strange like that. So I have made a Discord server that I post to when I go live. If you type !Discord, it will tell you my Discord link. You are free to join that. And it will announce to you, should you let it, that when I go live, it's basically the same message Twitch sends out, but it tells you that I've gone live, and you are then more likely to know when I'm here. As I say, I try and stream every day. Occasionally I have to skip a day. And obviously I can post in Discord, why not? Sometimes I do try and post a story on Twitch, but Twitch doesn't kind of notify you of stories, and I don't really know quite what it does with them. So it's not quite the same deal. It's not like oops, sorry, won't be bothering today. Discord's better for that. So feel free to join that. But I'm going to see if anyone I know is streaming of interest that you might like to see. The short answer is no. Hello, Apocalypse Bailey. Welcome to the channel. You've arrived just in time to see me go, I'm afraid, my friend. If you wish to catch me tomorrow, type !Discord or follow and do a bit of that, and you can catch me tomorrow. But tomorrow we will continue. That's fair enough. Lurkers are good. We like a lurker. It's called bobbin lace making. Basically, you chuck some bobbins around, they go twisty, 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 and they make pretty patterns. That kind of summarises bobbin lace making. It's a bit like I can summarise knitting and crochet as poke, wrap, pull. Bobbins is twisty, twisty. It is either left over right or right over left. There really is nothing much more you can do with it, so that is all it is made of. So in principle, it's really easy. In practice, not so much. Because it's amazing how many new and ingenious ways you can get it wrong. Even though it's really not hard, because you've got a little picture on the pattern, and if it looks like this, you do that stitch. If it looks like this, you do that stitch. And if it looks like this, you can do this stitch. So how do you get it wrong? It's like painting my numbers. How do you get it wrong? The answer is with skill. It is an undiagnosed ability to constantly screw up that which should be amazingly simple. I am not alone. Lace makers all over the world constantly make mistakes and look at it later and go, oh, crap. I was looking at a beautiful photo for a Facebook group, and on it was this lovely bookmark, very similar to my fancy bookmark that I made around Christmas. And the first thing I did was went, well, there's a mistake there, and actually there's another one there, and oh wait, there's one there too. So it's not just me who can't manage to do the simple things. So, you know, we are not alone. To error is human, is the short answer. To jam completely is a computer, but to error is human. And well, we do it with style and panache, but we try not to. And we do go back and fix the ones that we see, as long as they're not like going back 3 days worth, because then that can just go jump. As long as it was in, a couple of hours ago, it's the last chunk that you did, you'll probably go back and fix it. If it's beyond that, probably not. It's, unless you completely ended up with the wrong number of bobbins and have no choice, you'll probably just let it ride and live with it. Especially as the net curtain I'm making is purely for me. And so the only one who's going to see it once it's all over is me, and I'm going to walk past it every day, and I probably won't even give it a second glance. Let's not pretend that it's that biggity important. As I said, it's not like I'm giving it to the king, or it's going, on display in the Louvre or something, right? This is going on my landing, for which most likely no other human being will pass. So, frankly, it can be crap. But it is I'm enjoying making it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it when it's done. But I also know that I'm not going to stare at it every day and go, wow, because I'm just not, right? I just know that. The fact that I'm making it in squares and the joins means that it's going to be a little bit slightly awkward, because, well, it will have a bit like a patchwork bedspread where you've done in squares. You see the squares, and it's not that you object to seeing the squares, but you see the squares. In this, you're going to see the squares because it's made in squares, and you're going to see the joints because you're just going to see the joints. You can't really not see the joints. And so, to be honest, it's not going to be the most exciting net curtain in living history anyway. So, I'm under no illusions that this thing is going to be the most beautiful thing ever made in the history of mankind. Really, I would want to do it in one piece, and this is plenty bobbins, and this only makes 5.25 inches. I need 18 odd inches. Actually, it's more than that, I think it was 18 and a half inches by 34 inches or something. No, is the short answer. Just no. I am not making that in one piece. The number of bobbins to make that, if you think about it, I'm making a 5.25 inch square. Half the width of that is 70 odd bobbins. If you multiply that up, no. Just no. I mean, I have that many bobbins. I could, in principle. But no. No. Where would you put them all? Just what would you do with the 58 billion piles of bobbins that would be... No. No. Mentally, No. I don't need to be booking my funny farm situation right now, because I severely would need one if I tried. I want to. Oh, God, do I want to? But no. It would be... Have you ever seen, those micro things that people crochet? The little tiny animals that are done with, almost sewing thread, and they sit there and there's 50 billion stitches, and it's the size of a dime or something, right? It would be a bit like trying to do that. It would be like trying to do that for a bedspread. Yes, technically you could do it. But mentally, unless you're in prison with, nothing to do 24/7, no. You've got to be stuck on a desert island with the kit before that's really a viable option. There's got to be literally nothing else you could do, because you just lose your marbles. I mean, you're going to lose your marbles anyway, but it's going to be a case of doing it in alternating to lose your marbles in a new unique manner, because bobbin kind of husbandry, for want of a better word, is a skill. And keeping them from tangling and mating and tying knots with each other, and you know, the last thing you need is to have like 6,000 bobbins, and you decide, right, I'm going to do an hour's worth of lace making. So you spend an hour on twisting it all, and then you have to stop because your hour ran out. And tomorrow you come back and find that they've retwisted again. So tomorrow you spend an hour untwisting them all, and you still haven't actually made one stitch of progression. No. Bobbin husbandry, to keep them all in order and happy and all the rest of it, is a challenge, and the sticks are really good for that. But even the sticks can mate, because the ends kind of knobble and so yeah. Anyway, it's close to getting bedtime. Well, it's not close to bedtime. I've got to upload all this yet. But it's good to see you, Bailey. It really, really is. It truly is, my friend. Thank you for coming to my channel. You are always welcome, my friend, especially as I know you're a fellow Brit. It's always good to have someone in my time zone. It is a good thing, and I am glad to see you all. But I shall return tomorrow evening, hopefully, as long as my work doesn't polish me off. And if not, I will try again Wednesday. I do try for every night. Fridays for sure, except for last week when Rory kicked me in the head. And I was wonky for a couple of days. I mean, I was really wonky Friday, but I was only slightly wonky Saturday. But I just knew that if I had to sit and do this for a couple of hours, my head probably would really hurt. So I decided that I would relax and chill, so I came to do it on Sunday instead. So I try to do every day, but I occasionally fail. So with that note, thank you all for coming, and I do hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye!